So to get started, you're going to want to make sure you have a boiling pot. That's a pot large enough to hold the wort that you're going to produce. It has to be big enough to hold all the liquid that's in your kit, as well as any extra malts that you're going to add. You're going to want to boil that up, so you're going to make sure you want a big canning pot or something similar. Make sure you get yourself a good kit as well. This one's a nice one, good quality. And the malt extra I'm adding, I don't like to use dextrose for my brewing process. I'd rather use a real malt extract. So this is a powdered malt sugar. You could also use honey, etc., but the easiest and most tasteful way to go is your malt. Good luck. Okay, so we've got our boiling pot ready here, and I'm just going to take the bag of wort and pour it in. Alright, basically that's her. I'm going to add some heat to this, and I'm going to bring this up to a boil and let her go for a little while. I'm just going to stir in. This is actually a dark malt extract, not dextrose sugar, much nicer than a sugar. This is the malt extract. It's 100% barley malt. And I'm just going to add this to give it some darker color here, and to also up my alcohol content. Now I'm going to put the whole half kg in there, 500 grams. And I'm going to allow that to boil with the rest of the mixture. Alright, so we got ourselves a nice little boil going here. It's just starting to boil, actually. It would be at this point that I would suggest, if you have any extra hops, that you would want to add those hops now. Let them boil with this. I'm going to let this boil like this for about 10 minutes only, and then I'm going to take it off the heat. Okay, so I've got this sink set. There's a piece of cloth stuffed in the drain underneath the pot here. That's cold water running around it. I give it a stir just to keep it circulating. And the cold water is draining equally to the amount that it's going in. So this is keeping the water super cold and allowing this wort to chill as quick as possible. There are much better ways, including a wort chiller, which would set you back about $65 American. But this is a simple way. Now, if I might suggest, you rehydrate your yeast. You give it a little boost. I've got just slightly warm water in this cup with a touch of sugar, and I'm going to put my yeast from the kit, the packaged yeast, into that water, and I'm going to give it a little stir. Just enough to get her all in there. And I'm going to put a little piece of paper towel over that, stick it in the cupboard for about 20 minutes. We'll take a look in a sec. Now, if your kit came with anything extra, follow the instructions. This kit in particular came with potassium bicarbonate, which will adjust the acidity level. It suggests you add that to your fermentator before you add your wort. Okay, so this is a sterilized fermentator. I want to keep it that way. Now here comes my cooled wort after my boiling. I'm just going to pour that direct in here. Okay, at this stage, I'm adding my sterilized thermometer. And I'm just going to add that in there and let that sit for a minute so that I can get a temperature of my starter. Now you can use a test jar if you wish. I personally just like to take my hydrometer and place it right in once the foam has died down a bit. This is still a little bit foamy, as you can see. The thermometer is the red top, and you can't really see the hydrometer. But I'll take a test on that here, and I'll let you know. And here is our cup of yeast. You can see how it started to grow. It's already begun its process. So what we did by adding the warm water and sugar and giving it 20 minutes is just a slight head start before you pour it into your wort. Right, so into the wort we go, basically, with our cup of yeast. Dumping her all in, basically. And I'm not overly worried, but I am going to just add a touch of water to get that other yeast out. And basically that's it. She's in there. It's going to start going nuts. It's 25 degrees, which is a touch warm, but not too bad. And our specific gravity at starting was 1.051, which isn't too bad. On with the lid. Make sure you got a good lid, and you got to be prepared. Make sure that you keep your fermentator, your primary fermentator, in an area that you don't mind getting wet, because there is a good potential, more with wine, but there is a good potential with beer, that it will overflow, because it's going to be going nuts there. We'll check on that in a bit. Okay, so we're going to get ready to take from the fermentator here into the carboy. And what I've done is I've elevated this. You want it to be obviously higher than the top of your carboy so that your siphon works correctly due to gravity. And we're just going to siphon this off using this siphon. Pardon this, we're in the bathroom. This is all sterilized, that's why it's hanging here. It's nice to have a little siphon like that, especially with this little black topper. I recommend you get that. Any brew shop will have those kind of things for you. Anyways, let's get set up and we'll make this happen. Okay, so we've got the siphon in. It's not all the way to the bottom. We're keeping it just off the bottom in there, in the fermentator. And it's coming down direct into the carboy. And the siphon hose itself goes direct to the bottom. You want it to be touching the bottom. You don't want it to be splashing up lots of air, etc. So try to have your siphon hose go all the way to the bottom. If you have one that's not long enough, get another one. Okay, so here we're going from our first carboy into a second carboy. This is just a step I'm doing just for clarity of the beer. I'm going to let it sit one more week in the second carboy, perhaps 2 more weeks. For one, you're bulk aging again, allowing flavor change. And for another, you're just allowing more of the yeast to settle out, etc. So we'll see how that goes, but it's looking really good. Nice color. Okay, so that's all that's left. You can see that there is some yeast there. Unfortunately, I lost a bit of my suction there, so I missed, I don't know what that is, maybe, I don't know, half a liter. This is what I'm left with. You can see that it's down just a little bit, but that's not a major amount, and I'm not too worried. It's not that I'm selling this or going for quantity. Quality is definitely the answer. So losing a little bit, as long as I've got that bung on there and there's an airlock, so that only CO2 is in that open space and not oxygen, everything will be great. So we're just going to let that sit. Okay, so there you go. There's your beer in your carboy. She's all done. All the fermentation is finished. You've done your time. It's now time to bottle or keg. That choice is yours. You can use plastic bottles, you can use glass bottles, you can use caps, you can use corks. There's so many different ways. Even screw caps, of course. You make sure you look into that fully. Kegging is a great option. That's something we'll cover in another video. But you make sure you take a look at what you really want to do and do the right thing. It's a beautiful thing, this making beer. I wish you great luck.